Hi, I'm Tim. Welcome to Watch You Want, and thanks for logging on. Today, we're looking at the Rolex Oyster Perpetual Datejust reference 116234 in white Rolesor. This 36mm white gold and stainless steel Rolex can be purchased on our website, watchyouwant.com, and if you enjoy these videos, please subscribe to our YouTube channel, Watch You Want Inc. Now, I've received some requests lately for 36mm Datejust and Date-8 Rolex, and I'm going to try to honor that, starting with this G-Series Rolex Datejust 116234, combination of white gold fluted bezel and 904L stainless steel case. You can see the watch cuts a classical stance on my 16cm 6.3-inch wrist. Now, the watch is 36mm across the round of the case, but the combination of solid link integrated end pieces and the rather cushion-shaped Rolex Oyster case means that the timepiece does wear larger than that. Really, it's closer to a 40 in look and in feel. Now, the span from lug to lug is quite reasonable. The watch is a classic 44mm from extremity to extremity. That's been the Rolex 36mm fit for a long time. This watch, however, brings a little bit more heft to the equation, and I'll explain why in just a moment, but I want to emphasize that with a nice sloped bezel and only 11.5mm of absolute thickness, this one is a gem that easily slides under even the tightest cuffs. But about that heft, about the wrist impression, now the Super Jubilee bracelet is what we have here. So solid links, milled clasp, much more substantial. What you wind up with is a watch that, compared to previous variants, almost feels like precious metal. After 2005, with the arrival of the so-called Super Jubilee bracelet, every Datejust, and in those occasions when it was so fitted, Date felt considerably heftier than any of its preceding models, simply because there was more metal throughout the bracelet and clasp. Now, I like that. Personally, it makes me feel like I'm wearing a premium product. It reminds me that the watch truly is a luxury item. And you can see that that milled out clasp, in this case fully finished with high polish and interior engraving, is a gorgeous piece that wouldn't look at all out of place on a sports watch. But the traditional crown clasp, and you can see it here, is now articulated, so not only is it the only visible parting point, but instead of simply being a hook under which you slide your nail and pull, it's now an articulated pivoting point that acts as a lever, a switch, so to speak, to open that milled out clasp. It looks and it feels like $1 million in the hand. Now, this is one of the most elegant combinations of dial, bezel, case, and bracelet that I've seen on a Datejust. Now, these are all sports watches at heart, featuring the same movement as a contemporary Submariner. This G-Series watch, though, features a combination of the delicate and quite flexible, almost silken Jubilee 5-link bracelet with an upscale fluted white gold bezel. You can see its facets creating a dazzling effect in the light box. A gorgeous black lacquered dial that has almost a wet, reflective quality to it. It looks deep. And polished 18-karat white gold Roman numerals with a white railroad-style minute or seconds track outboard. This is about as upscale and formal as a Datejust gets. Some of them, especially the rotating bezel turnographs, are almost sports watches, and while this is 100-meter, 330-foot water resistant, the bottom line is that this is a watch that can hold its own against any Calatravas, any Vacheron Patrimony, and any Jaeger-LeCoultre master reference. It is that fine and it is that elegant. The details are perfectly matched together, and this watch has an imagery such that you feel it could have been made at any time between the 1945 debut of the Datejust and today. And I guarantee you, 50 years hence, it'll look just as good. Now, inside you find Rolex's latest watchmaking technology. You do get the Breguet overcoil hairspring, handmade and anti-magnetic as ever. You do get a 48 to 50 hour power reserve, and Rolex's unique perpetual bidirectional winding system with Teflon coated reversing wheels. And the advantage of that is not only is it efficient, but it's also remarkably smooth, such that when a Rolex is on your wrist, you can scarcely hear or feel that it's winding. Rolex has spent a lot of time and money to achieve that effect, and you'll experience it to good effect on this Rolex 116234. Now, it is a COSC chronometer rated movement, so you are going to have that -4+6 performance per day. The watch is tested for 2 weeks to achieve that status when it receives its chronometer certificate. That's only 1% of total Swiss watch production, so even though we consider Rolex to be a fairly high-volume manufacturer, we have to remember just how exceptional any chronometer really is in the total scheme of watch production. Now, it also features hacking seconds. When you pull the crown, it does stop the seconds hand for easy synchronization to a known accurate reference clock or timer, and When you screw the crown out, you also have a quick set function so that you can easily correct the date. Should the watch run down, cycling through the date disc is a snap. This is one of the most elegant, rich, and refined Datejust references I've encountered. It fits like a dream on a wrist of any size, and lest we forget, Winston Churchill had an absolute gigantic wrist. He wore a Datejust with real panache. The man makes the watch, no question, but this watch makes the time just a bit more fun for the man. You can see it on our website, watchyouwant.com.